Kevin, I'm so excited to chat with you because DISH has been a huge pioneer in my favorite subject, addressability. So talk to me about what you're up to.
I would say the biggest thing for us right now, as we, on the back half of 19 and going into 2020, is application of addressability. I know that the previous panel was really starting to dig into your favorite topic and favorite topic of mine, which is addressable and defining it. But I think if we sort of take a step back, addressable has largely, if not entirely, been used for targeted advertising. And I think we're entering a phase now where we're, at least from our point of view, we're not really wholesale redefinition of addressable, but I do think it's taking on a different meaning for us. And addressable for us is effectively technology that allows us to deliver or take a specific action to a specific household or a specific subscriber. And that technology has largely been used for targeted advertising in the past. And I think now we're starting to apply it to new use cases, which is really exciting. By the way, we're not alone. I think other MVPDs all have the capability of doing this. So targeted advertising will still be the primary focus of addressable technologies, or primary use case. But we now are using that addressable technology to deliver or work on reach and frequency from a national linear campaign point of view. That's a product that we recently launched called Reach Booster. And then addressable technology is also now finally in the mix to enable national minutes on the programmer side.
Okay, let's dig into both of those. So Reach Booster and national are these are some of my favorite words. Yep. So I used to have tons of CPG clients, really big ones. And a competing agency would say, addressable is not good for everybody. And I would just be like, I totally disagree. CPG can use addressable just like all other, verticals. And Reach Booster, I think, is a really unique product for all advertisers, but specifically CPG. When you're trying to get incremental reach and it's very hard to get, tell me about just the basics of the product so that everyone understands what Reach Booster really does.
So, by the way, we obviously on the DISH side have a horse in the linear television race. So this is not a knock against linear television, but there is a point of diminishing returns for linear television. It is really good and it's still super effective, but at some point your reach plateaus, and the frequency, you're starting to pound the heavy viewing household and the heavy viewing viewer. And so what Reach Booster does is it uses our first-party data, which is subscriber and viewership, and we can monitor which homes have seen which ad. And so if you use linear television to the point where that reach curve starts to flatten, then you work with DISH or any other MVPD on using their addressable technology to then serve that ad to the homes that have not seen it, or to the ads that have not seen it frequently enough, depending on what the frequency ideal frequency target is. So in effect, we can allow for the agency and advertiser to continue growth on their reach curve and deliver within an optimal frequency capacity.
So it's super cool. You can watch what people are watching, understand that they're a live viewer, and send them addressable ads on hard-to-reach consumers. Have you thought about, as you go national, which I want to talk about, have you thought about kind of the opposite of that? Okay, let's see, I've seen the Geico ad now 1,000 times. Please turn it off in my household, right? Put me up for sale to be covered.
I want to see more of the Pinocchio Geico ad, actually.
Oh my God. No, seriously, put me up for sale as an impression, because I've seen that ad enough already. It's kind of the flip of Reach Booster. It's let's put those homes that have been overserved ads up for the ability to cover them up with addressable, more relevant ads. Is that a potential product coming?
I mean,
you gotta we have to get national first. Well, I mean, I guess
yeah,
you could do it on
I
the 2
think
minutes.
that comes
but
into the national enablement conversation. To be honest with you, because again, linear is effective. It's going to do its job, but we're not controlling that per se. But I do think when you get into the national minute enablement world, that can be possible.
Well, I'm really encouraged by DISH's openness and the fact that you are going to be lighting up national cable inventory. So we're going to get past the 2 minutes and we're going to get onto those 14 minutes this year, correct?
Yeah, next month.
Next month. Okay, even better. So I applaud you for that. I used to be like, why is everyone hoarding this to the 2 minutes when we could expand and really grow this marketplace? So thank you for that. And then we also have several other players that are going to start to get to national, whether it be or Nielsen or Xandr or Freewheel. So we're going to have a whole flood to national, and the programmers are going to have to figure all of this out at this point, right? So.
Yeah. I think, one of our, you talk about open and our open-mindedness and open approach, and it is something that we have charted as one of our North Stars, right? We think it's really, really important. So open and accountability, and one other North Star that we have as an organization is impression-based. We fundamentally believe that the TV video world will be impression-based at some point in time. Whether that's in 3 years or 5 years or 7 years is TBD, but that is our North Star, and we think that if we're making decisions and if we have to prioritize, we are prioritizing for that. Going into programmer national minute enablement, there are currently 2 lanes or 2 flavors. There is creative versioning, which doesn't break up the national spot and still allows for Nielsen measurement. And I know Nielsen's working on a few other things as well in terms of allowing advertisers to cross that chasm. And then the other version is true addressability, which is aggregate, where you are breaking up a linear spot into a whole host of impressions, and you're targeting your audience with a subset of those impressions. So there's 2, and this is going to evolve and grow, and it's super early. But those are currently the 2 lanes that we see, and the announcement that A&E made actually, and we're participating and we're enabling. Is with A&E, Fox, CBS. Ad Curatio is the center. That's the technology in the center, and we're the first MVPD, and we hope we're not the last. And we're there just to contribute and plug our data in so that you get deterministic data against creative versioning.
Well, that's a great step forward. So true addressable. So SASO is pretty easy, right? I mean, we're not going to break a whole bunch of shit going through a SASO model, right? But true addressability really hurts some people's heads, right? So what do you think is like the biggest challenge to being able to really unleash true addressable for the marketplace?
So maybe for the audience, SASO, it basically means
Creative
it's the same.
versioning.
It's creative versioning, but it's the same advertiser. All right. So think of a marketer that has a portfolio of brands, and now they can use deterministic data to deliver different creatives to different homes based on that data. But it's the same marketer, and it is a very I don't know. I don't want to say easy. It's not easy, but it's a logical first step.
Yep.
When you look at sort of the other side, or you go to the deep end, and it's a good deep end, and you look at true addressable and aggregate, and there is one organization on the programmer side that is sort of teed up to do that in 2020. It's just a little more complicated because networks have spent decades building a revenue base, and that revenue is so institutionalized, and it's hard to all of a sudden say, okay, well, now we're going to break up a linear spot that we've been monetizing so well for 40 years or 30 years, and we're going to approach this in an impression-based with an impression-based mindset.
Why can't we do both? I mean, isn't that what the point of
you can do both. I'm just saying, like,
reconciliation is.
I just think it's going to be hard for, and it's not impossible, but I think it's going to be hard for folks to really embrace, and I think it will happen over time, But think about it. You have to kind of fundamentally change the way you sell. And change the way that you transact and the way that you monetize. But I think that aligns with what one of our North Stars is, which is impression based. So I think it's inevitable in my point of view.
Okay, so you're one of the inventory owners that puts inventory into a DSP. And in prep for this panel, I learned a lot about how you approach the way you let DSPs sell your inventory. Do you want to just highlight it quickly for us?
Absolutely. I mean, I've spent a number of years on the digital side and started in the TV side, but almost 2 decades on the digital side. And if there's one thing that the digital ecosystem has done well, it's not the cookie. It is. I just think the whole concept of a DSP and the marketplace, right? Going back to the marketplace conversation earlier, it works. Now there are a lot of subtleties to the DSP, but it ultimately puts the decision in the marketer or agency's hands. So they're the ones that are saying, I like this UI, I like this platform, I like the way that they look at Omni. I can count out of home, I can count digital, I can count CTV, and Omni is where we all need to go. So it's the marketer's decision or the agency's decision as to who they want to work with. And then for us, it's all about connectivity. I mean, we work with 2 SSPs, and those SSPs are the ones that connect us into all the different DSP options. So when you talk about interoperability, it's really difficult to do individual agreements with every single one, and I think that's one of the challenges that we have within the TV business. But in IP delivered content and impression based, it works really, really well.
I'm really excited by your openness and what lies ahead, so thank you for that.
You got it. Thank you.